In this lesson, we'll cover creating local files that will actually be derived from a shared central Revit project. Now, in a previous lesson, we covered creating a central project using work sharing, where everything is configured for that one central file that everyone will synchronize their changes to. We created work sets, where the individuals will take ownership of a work set and do the work on their local computer and then synchronize those changes within that work set back to the central server. To get started now, since our project is set up on the central server in a work sharing environment, we need to actually connect to it and create a local file to work on locally. So to do that, the first thing you do once the actual central project is set up within work sharing is to navigate to wherever that central project is stored and open it. Now, I happen to have it on my screen right now as one of the items that I just had open from the previous lesson. It's the 509 Central Project. If you don't see that, simply go to the Open button, browse to wherever your data files are at, and then choose the 509 Central Project. Now, before you hit OK, one thing to note, Revit recognizes this is a central project file. Therefore, at the very bottom, you see a work sharing environment with Create Local View checkmark. What I'm going to do now is create a local Revit project that synchronizes back to the central Revit project. So go ahead and click Open. Now, when you do that, it's going to basically look at the actual Revit central project, see what's all in it, and go ahead and open that file. Now, what actually happens next is that the local file is created, the name is mimicked, but the end of the name includes your Windows username. So this example for mine, if I look at the top of my screen, the project name is 509 Central Project _ Tim. Therefore, it's my local project. Now, if I go to the Collaborate tab and I look at work sets on the work set dropdown, this is where I can grab ownership of any of these work sets, meaning I can add things to them. So let's say I wanted to work on an HVAC system. This is where I would select HVAC. Now, this is the active work set, so anything I add right now gets added to the HVAC work set. However, it still says not editable. Not editable doesn't mean you can't edit anything. What it means is that you're not the sole owner of the HVAC work set. If you click on the work sets button on the left, you'll actually see editable is set to no. Now, most organizations will leave it this way because maybe you have 2 or 3 mechanical engineers working on HVAC systems at the same time. So each one of them have a local Revit project, and they're both or multiple people are working on the HVAC work set. So in order to do that, editable has to remain no. So all 3 or 4, how many ever users can actually add and modify things on the HVAC work set. If you only want to allow one person to do that, you would change no to yes. You just simply click in no, change that to yes. Now that means me as Tim, I'm the owner. I'm the only one that can make edits to the HVAC work set and anything on it. I'm going to leave this set to no. So I'm going to change yes back to no and then click OK. So I would continue to add elements, change anything. Again, and I can switch work set to work set depending on what I'm doing. Now, when I'm done, I could save, and my saves, whatever I'm saving, stays local to my computer or wherever I'm saving to, but doesn't go back to the central server. It won't go back to the central server until you synchronize. The Synchronize tool is on the Collaborate tab, and it's called Synchronize with Central. 2 options. Both will synchronize. Synchronize now means just synchronize everything. Synchronize and modify settings means you can synchronize, but you also have the ability to add comments. Comments are for tracking of history, so we can look back at the history of what was done with this file. So I can put in a comment for this example here, new sink. Or it could be added doors, or added walls, or added HVAC system. Then click OK. Revit will actually now look at whatever you have, save your local copy, and synchronize back to the main file. To see your history, if I wanted to look at history of what was done, you could click Show History, and then choose the Revit file you wanted to view the history of. And I'm going to select the central project file, click Open, and it will display the history of whatever was done. And you can see, based on this, there's actually 4 sinks that I processed, but only the last one I actually added comments, depending on how you sort this. So this is where I can actually see who does what that's associated to this Revit Central project. Go ahead and click Close. If you wanted to reload the project, you could simply click Reload. This would reload the latest from the central model within your project. You could also restore backup if you had a backup, or you could edit requests or requests that are sent from users to users and various other elements. Now, also how to set things for different work sets. For example, let's say I go to work set 1, and let's just say, for example, I'm going to add a wall, just a basic element. Now, this could be a wall, it could be a door, it could be an HVAC symbol, it could be a plumbing symbol. When you click on whatever you create and you look in the properties on the left and then scroll down, you'll actually see the work set that it's tied to. If by chance you created it on the wrong work set, you can change it here by simply clicking the right work set, and maybe I'll put it on structure and then apply that. It's still edited by me, the user, but now I'm able to change what work set this element should be applied to. Once I'm done, this is where I would go and synchronize now. Go back to Collaborate, Synchronize, and I'll just do Sync with Modified Settings, and I'll say Added Wall or added whatever element you wanted. And then it will now synchronize this from my local copy back to the actual central copy. So as a review, what we looked at in this lesson was how to create local views or local files from our centrally hosted Revit project. We looked at how to first navigate to the central project and then create a local copy of it. We looked at how to change work sets, how to add elements, how to then synchronize those elements back to the actual central Revit project, and then how to view the history of what was actually done by different users and when they synchronize those changes back to the central server.